Hey guys, so today we're going to be adding and subtracting decimals. And so before I get started, I want to remind you guys that you should have looked under here in announcements for some things you need this week. We are doing a project on Friday. So for that, you'll need some glitter, just a little bit, not a lot, or yarn, your choice. Okay, glue, liquid glue, crayons, color pencils, or markers, not all three, just one or the other. Okay, you're going to use these items to do an activity on Friday. And if possible, there's an image I've linked right here. You need to print that off so you can complete this activity for Friday. So you have between now and Friday to get all these things and print this image off. So also for today, you'll be needing a dice or one dice. That'll do, just a regular six-sided dice. Okay. All right. So our lesson today is going to be adding and subtracting decimals. And adding and subtracting decimals is pretty much exactly like adding and subtracting whole numbers. Remember, we line up our place values and we start on the right. Now, I know when you first started learning adding and subtracting, your teacher probably said, start in the ones place. Well, when we add the decimal, we can't start in the ones place, because if we did that, we'd be starting in the middle of the number. So once we write our problem, we say start on the right. The first number's on the right. Okay. And just like adding and subtracting whole numbers, you have to line up the place value before you add or subtract, meaning the hundreds with the hundreds, the tenths with the tenths, the ones with the ones, and the tens with the tens. Okay. Now, when doing it with decimals, you may think it's going to be a little confusing, but there's actually a symbol that helps you, and that's the decimal. So if you start by lining up the decimal, okay, then all you have to do is fill in the numbers. All right. And you notice we have a snowman over here. And the reason we have a snowman over here is because you're going to hear me say a lot of this statement called snowman buttons. So here are our snowman buttons. And to me, those snowman buttons look like decimals. Okay. So now if you look in our problem here, we only have 2 snowman buttons. So where do you think the third one's going to go? The third one's going to go down here for our answer. Okay, so we're keeping our snowman buttons in line. We're going to add the third one for our answer. And all this does is, again, it helps keep us in line, keeps our place value in line. So when you hear me say draw your snowman buttons, I mean draw your decimals, even the decimal in the answer before you start getting your answer. Okay, that'll help you stay organized. All right, so we're subtracting this. Now, just like whole numbers, you follow the same exact rule, okay? I have 7 on top, 9 on the bottom. I cannot subtract that, so I have to borrow, okay? That becomes a 7, and this becomes 17. 17 minus 9 is 8, okay? Then 7 minus 1 is 6, okay? Now, just because there's a decimal there doesn't mean we have to do anything fancy other than just go to the next place. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 9 minus 3 is 6. Okay, next question. They've already, again, have it lined up for us. So we have to draw our snowman buttons. 1, 2, 3. So now we're adding. 2 plus 4 is 6. 3 plus 8 is 11. We put a 1. Now, where do you think that other one carries? It carries to the next place, just like in a whole number. Okay, nothing's changed with the rules. Okay, so 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. Then 8 plus 7 is 15. Okay, so why don't you pause this video and on scrap paper solve these 2 problems. And remember, when you write them, you need to line up the snowman buttons and write your answer snowman button. Line up your snowman button and your answer snowman button. So pause the video and go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we have 7 minus 2, and that is 5. 8 minus 6, that is 2. 8 minus 2, that is 6. 4 minus 3, and that is 1. So 16 and 25 hundredths. Now, if we were here and you had to borrow, just like in a whole number, you borrow from the next place. Even though there's a decimal there, remember, that's just a symbol separating the parts and the wholes. It doesn't mean you have to do anything fancy or anything extra. You borrow from the next place or you carry to the next place. The same rules apply. All right, last one, we're adding. There's our snowman buttons. We're lining up our decimal, lining up our place value. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11 again. And carry the 1 to the next place. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. Carry the 1 to the next place. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay. So now I'm going to give you a problem not written like this. Okay. And I want you on your scratch paper to write out that problem like this. That means vertically. I'm going to give you a problem written to the horizontally. Okay. And I want you to write the problem vertically. Okay, so there's your problem. 15 and 6 tenths, plus 13 and 4,500. So I want you to take this problem and rewrite it up and down using your snowman buttons. Now, just so you know, I did put a little trick in here to see if you see if you can figure out the trick I did. So, or try to trick you up. So pause the video and rewrite this vertically using our snowman buttons. Okay, so you should have written 15.6. Okay. Then you should have written 13.45. Okay. Now, remember, we're lining up our snowman buttons. So you can go ahead and write the snowman buttons before you write the numbers. Okay. So we have 13 and 45. And we're adding. Okay. So now if you notice, the 45 goes past where the 6 goes. And there's nothing right here. But remember, 6 tenths is the same as 60. Okay. So we can put a placeholder 0 in that empty space. Okay. So that goes with, even if we were subtracting, if there was nothing there, we could put a placeholder 0 there to subtract from, because remember, 6 tenths is the same as 60 hundredths. So if you come across a problem that where there's a space on a decimal like that, you can always put a 0 there. It doesn't change the value. It's a placeholder 0, and you can use it to subtract or add. So in this case, we're adding. 0 plus 5 is 5. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So again, when you rewrite this, write the first number, write your snowman buttons, then write the second number to keep yourself organized. Okay? Because you have to, anytime you add and subtract, you have to line up the place value, and the decimal helps us. Okay? So now I'm going to talk about your work for today. I'm going to explain the worksheet, and then I'm going to go into the Google Classroom and show you how you can respond. Okay? Because you're going to be able to respond 2 ways. All right, so here's our worksheet. This is what you need the dice for. Okay, you just need 1 dice. All right, you're going to roll it 1 time to get your first number. It can be, so if you get a 6, your first number is this. If you get a 3, your first number is this, or one of your numbers. Okay, then you roll it a second time to get your second number. The third tells you, are you going to add or subtract? So if you roll an odd number, you're going to subtract. If you roll an even number, you're going to add. Now, if you rolled a lower number first and a higher number second, and then you got the subtraction on the third roll, you need to make sure that you write that problem out correctly where your bigger number goes on top, even if it was your second roll. This isn't necessarily the order that you have to do anything in. These are just the 2 numbers you're going to get to solve either an adding or subtracting problem. So make sure if you're doing a subtracting problem, your bigger number is always, always, always on top. Okay? So, and then you'll have a paper here that you can record your answers. So I'm about to show you how you can record your answers though. So again, your first roll gets this number, your second roll gets this number, your third roll tells you if you're adding or subtracting those two numbers. Okay, so let me go into your Google Classroom and I'll explain to you how you can turn this assignment in. Okay, so here's your assignment under the Google Doc. It looks just like what I showed you. So here's the first page, and then the second page is where you can input your work. Now, I'm not expecting you to put your problems here and work out your work on the computer. I'm expecting you to do your work on scratch paper, okay? And you're going to be needing to take a picture of that work and attaching it to your assignment, and I'll show you about that in a second. So on here, what you need to do is you can type, so like if number 1, you got 23.98, you're at 23.98. If you got adding, write plus. Okay, then 12.9, or then say you got 9.38. 9.38 equals, and then you would write whatever answer you got. So you can do your work on scratch paper and then come back here and input the problem and the answer, okay? Or you can only do your work on scratch paper, but you have to do it a certain way, and I'm about to show you. So if you have notebook paper or white, or even just like white blank paper, you can do this, okay? So I'm going to show you real quick how you can do this on scratch paper but make it look neat and organized. Okay, so if you decide to do an organized scratch paper, then this is what it needs to look like. So here I have my notebook paper, okay? Or you can use it just regular white computer paper, whatever you have. You can fold it like a hot dog and open it back up. That'll give you a crease like this, okay? Then on the right side over here, you write what's called an answer column. All right, you number 1 through however many problems we have. Okay, this is your answer column. And this is your workspace, okay? Now, in your workspace, you have your number, the problem, and the answer. And all you do is take that answer over here and put it over there in the answer column, okay? But your workspace needs to also stay neat. You need to use the lines, write neat, skip a line between each question, okay? Skip a line and make sure you're recording your answers over in the answer column, okay? So if you choose to not go back on this page and type in everything after you work it out on scratch paper, that's fine. But you need to be doing your scrap paper like this so it's neat and organized for Mrs. Raisler and I to read. Because if you just turn in just random scrap paper, we're not going to be able to understand your work and what you did and your answers. So make sure if you choose to do it this way and not type stuff in onto the computer, that you follow this procedure, okay? And again, if you don't have notebook paper, that's fine. You can do it on white paper. You can still be neat and organized. And the reason we put this crease here is because if I work all the way down to the bottom, instead of flipping it to the back, I can just come over into this next working column and work down to the bottom and then flip it over on the back, okay? But regardless if I go to the back or not, all my answers are recorded in an answer column over on the side. Okay, so that's how your scrap paper needs to look if you want to do it that way instead of typing in on to the worksheet. Okay, and then on your classwork on your end, when you look at this assignment, if you click, yours says view assignment. If you click view assignment, then you can attach, it says add attach work up here in the corner. And so you would just need to take a picture of this, okay, and attach it to your assignment, okay? So if you have any questions about how to do that, just ask me or Miss Raisler, but I think some of y'all have already done that so far, so you should know. But again, when you look on your assignment here, yours says view assignment, you would click view assignment, and it's above where the turn in button usually is. It says attach something to it and you need to attach a picture, a good picture, your mom, dad, whoever you live with can help you take a picture of this paper and attach it. Okay, so again, if you choose to do it this way, you do not have to come back and type here. Okay, but if you choose not to do it this way, you do have to come back and type here. Okay, all right, y'all let me or Miss Raisler know if you have any questions, and I'll remind you again to go back and look at that announcements assignment that was posted about all the materials you need for Friday. All right, y'all have a great day.